My name is Linda Frazee, and I've been working with people for 40 years to improve their success and their satisfaction with their lives as they are and possibly going forward. And as I grow older, I'm working more with older people, helping them understand how they can enjoy the last number of their years without so much fear and trepidation. So let's talk a little bit about that. One of the things that's important is whatever your model is for aging. That's changed a lot. I mean, it really is true that now the 50 is the new 30 or the 70 is the new 50. You know, it really has changed from our grandparents and great-grandparents' view of life and the life they led. However, those ideas are still in our head. So how do you go beyond them? Well, one of the things I do in my teaching is use a system called the Enneagram. And there are 9 types on the Enneagram, and each one of those has various challenges and great strengths, but the challenges get in the way when you're aging if you don't watch out. So I just want to talk a little bit about those. So number 1 is a perfectionist, or called the reformer. And of course, they've spent their life being very motivated and getting things done and feeling good about themselves, keeping themselves in probably good shape most of the time and in good order. And suddenly maybe their body is just not cooperating in the same way it would before. And that can create resentment with them, about resentment at their body, about what's going on. When you're in resentment, that's an energy block. So forgiving yourself and being able to say, well, that was then, this is now, and being grateful for where you are is good for everybody, but particularly for ones. 2s are the helper on the Enneagram, and they have been so focused on everybody else's needs, they haven't tended very well to their own unless they have learned to do so. But as they age and they have to slow down, they find that they don't have as much energy to put out there for other people, and they have to kind of come home to themselves, learn to relax, and to really look at what is it I want to do now. Maybe it's time to just have fun. That would be an interesting thought. And that's also true for their next door neighbor, the 3, the performer. They've been so busy performing and out there producing and achieving that their biggest challenge throughout their life, and especially as they age, is just to pull back and let there be space in between activities. Let them relax. Quit holding their hand up and saying, yes, I can do that, because they really think they can expand themselves. And you can, except that as you age, your energy you don't have as much as you used to. And so therefore you have to conserve and be thoughtful about how you spend it. Now the 4 can get all trapped in their feelings and feel like, oh, well, why does it matter anyway? And so that sense of chronic depression and kind of melancholy that a 4 can get into, they're called the romantic, sometimes the tragic romantic. They have to learn to kind of get out of themselves. And I've often said that beware of a 4 who's not exercising, because that increases their drama. So if you're a 4 and you're aging, start exercising, even if it's walking around the block. It will move the energy, and that helps. The 5 is also, now the 5 is in what's called the mental center, and they're called the observer because they are very often, not always, but very often introverts, and they like to kind of stand back and watch life go by. And step in only when it feels good to them and once they have it figured out. And so very often a 5's big breakthrough in their life with their energy at any age is moving their body as well. Now, this might sound like I'm saying the same thing over and over about all types, and there is an element of that, because moving your body is essential for increasing your energy. And when you're depressed or you're sad or you're not feeling well, it's hard to get yourself to get up and get out, but that will make a difference. But these 2 types, the 4 and the 5, moving your body is really an essential element in having more energy. The 6 has to really come up with some hard rules. The 6 is called the loyal skeptic, and they are either going against authority or trying to avoid authority, and sometimes that's their own authority. So even if they join the gym and they don't go, that's their own resistance that they're working on, and that reduces their energy, because then they beat themselves up because they're not going to the gym. So a 6 needs to really align with their own inner authority, and that helps them with their energy. The 7 is a whole different character, because they're called the adventurer. And they're out all about doing fun things and having great activities. And sometimes as they age, they continue to have more energy than everybody else. And so the other types will look at the 7 and say, what's wrong with me? Look at them. They're on another cruise. Why am I sitting here trying to figure out how to even make reservations on the cruise line? And there they are. Now they're in Italy. They're going on a river cruise because that drive for adventure has been with them all their life. And if they're retired or they have more time and energy now, that energy very often gets directed in activities. However, even they have to learn to be more conservative so that they can continue to have a good time. And that's a big incentive for a 7. The 8, with their big energy, can drive themselves to exhaustion, very much like the 3, but not so much about activity or achievement, although they do like to achieve. They're called the boss or the protector. But it's about being strong and being out there in the world and doing what they want to do with their energy. And it really aggravates an 8 that they can't do what they did. And usually they do it anyway, sometimes to the point where they hurt themselves. So learning to be more aware of that big energy that insists they go forward and just gradually holding themselves back will help an 8 age more gracefully. And for the 9 who gets distracted is called the mediator or the peacemaker. So distracted with other people's agendas, this is a time as you age to begin to say, what is it I want? What would I do if I mattered? And actually let their own energy follow their own inner desire. So if you're interested in any of this, if this sparks any attention to you, please go to my website, lindafrazee.com, and check out all the offerings that are there. There's a 5-part video that's free that you can watch that will expand on all of these types. And that's the beginning of you understanding more about the Enneagram.